Hi and welcome! Are you in need of inventory or equipment slots? These are just buttons with multiple interaction variations. A single click will do one thing, a double click uses or equips item, and hovering will show some form of tooltip. In this tutorial, we will create just this and make sure it works on PC input as well as controllers. The runtime of this tutorial might already have told you that I will not cover how to create an inventory system or equipment system or even items. As you can see, my slots are set up to simply enable and disable image components or show and hide the tooltip. But I remember vividly when I started working on inventory systems how I struggled with getting the buttons to work as intended. But inventories and such are not the only use case for this, of course. You can implement these buttons everywhere you need things to happen on hover or double click. Let's head in. Create a new canvas and an image. Style it however you want. I'll go for the classic inventory slot that is basically just a rectangle. This next step is not strictly necessary, but if you want this to be filled with an icon, I recommend adding another child element, having it stretch the whole width by holding Shift and then Alt, then clicking down here, and adding a bit of margin in every direction. I will also disable the raycast ability of this, otherwise it will block clicks and cause a headache at a later point. Speaking from experience here. This is already more than we need. Let's head over to Rider to write some code. The class will be called DoubleClickButton and inherit from the selectable class. If you have seen my tutorial on how to create a button with a right-click event, you might remember that one is the base of all interaction UI elements Unity provides. We use it so our button will fit right in and can be hooked up correctly in the navigation as well. iPointerClick handler will make sure clicks on the image will be noticed. iSubmit handler makes sure we can click the button by using a keyboard or controller as well. Let's start at the top. We have two entries for our click settings, a double click threshold and a single click delay. I highly recommend not going below 0.2 and 0.25 respectively. These numbers handle how fast your user has to double click for it to be noticed as such. We will also need a hover delay so we can set how long we want to interact with the button before things start popping up. Next come our four events: on click, on double click, on hover enter and on hover exit. They are public and can be subscribed to and unsubscribed from through other scripts, just like you would do with the default button component. If you don't yet know how that works, I have a tutorial on that. Last click time will store the time of our click, the coroutine will store the routine handling the double click check, and because we might be clicking this button a whole lot, we will also declare a wait for second up here. This way we can reuse it later instead of declaring a new wait for second every time we click. For the same reason, we will set up a coroutine and wait for seconds for the hover delay. The reset routine will be needed especially for interactions with the controller. More about that in a moment. Selectable already comes with a reset method, but we need to add a bit to it to make setup of our button easier. This will make sure there is an image component and that this part of the component will have the image referenced correctly. Likewise, we need to override the selectable class's start method to initialize our wait for seconds. A public setHoverDelay method will make sure we can access and change it through scripts, and setClickDelays will enable us to change those values through script just like the setHoverDelay method will do. The rest is rather straightforward. OnPointerClick and OnSubmit work almost identically, just one in case the element gets clicked with the mouse, the other for controllers. OnSubmit needs a little bit more care, as controller clicks somehow do not trigger the transition of a button. That's why we start it manually and also need to trigger its reset through a coroutine afterwards. In handling input, we make sure nothing will happen in case our button is not interactable. In case it is, we get the time since our last click like this, then check if this time is smaller than the threshold we set up. In my case, if it is smaller or equal to 0.2 seconds. If this is true, we start the handling of a double click. Otherwise, we go straight to the single click instead. Handle double click and handle single click again work almost identically. That's a sentence I say a lot in here. Both start with a check if there is a routine running. If it is, we stop it. Handle double click will then invoke the double click event like this. Single click needs one step more. Instead of invoking it straight away, we start a coroutine, wait for the single click delay, and only then invoke the event. This setup makes sure that in case we are quick enough with a double click, this routine will be stopped before it executes the invoke. OnFinishSubmit is the coroutine we called for the controller input. It handles the correct transition so the user knows he or she interacted with the button correctly. If you enjoyed the tutorial so far, please give it a like and consider subscribing. Next up is what we will do on hover. Hover itself is something the mouse does, so just like before, we need two different methods to catch the behavior. OnPointerEnter starts a coroutine that ticks down the seconds until the hover event gets invoked. OnPointerExit stops the coroutine. OnSelect and OnDeselect are the controller equivalents and work the same. Lastly, the hover delay looks simple like this. We wait for the duration, then invoke the events attached to it. If you need an idea for a test script, it could just simply look like this. Head back to Unity and add the script to the image. As you can see, we get all the common setup possibilities we might need, and below are our settings and Unity events. Set up your methods either in the inspector or through code and give it a test. If everything works, and it really should at this point, make sure to turn it into a prefab. You can learn how to add it to your right-click menu in this tutorial in the next step. This way you will always have it ready wherever you need it. Have a great week!